Once upon a time, all the animals that walked on the land and all the birds and insects that flew in the sky began to quarrel about who was the smartest and strongest. At first, they spoke softly. Then, slowly, they became angrier and louder. The tigers growled and the wolves howled. The birds gave loud cries and cackles. The insects buzzed as loudly as they could. So, the story is about a time long ago when all the animals and birds and insects they started quarreling. Well, just like the colors we studied, here also the animals started quarreling about who is the smartest and strongest. Initially, it was like they spoke softly. It was just like a discussion. But then slowly, when no one was agreeing and coming to one point, they started quarreling loudly and got angrier. The tigers growled and the wolves howled. Growled. Growling is the voice that you animals make through their throat. When we hear dogs, when they want to give a warning, that's the kind of growling. And the wolves howled. Howling is the long, loud voice that they make. The birds gave loud cries and cackles. Cackles also is the noise that birds make, and the insects buzzed as loudly as they could. You know what is the buzzing sound? At last, an old parrot said, "Stop shouting. Let's not waste our time and energy in talk. Let's fight." The animals laughed at the bird's idea. "What?" said the lion. "Can you fight us? Don't be foolish. I can bite harder than any one of you." The elephant said, "I can lift a whole tree and fight you all at once. We will easily defeat you." "Will you?" said the parrot. "We'll see about that. Get ready to fight us." So, when all the animals were quarreling, an old parrot said that everyone stop shouting and let's not waste our time and energy. We will fight. It was an old bird, and you can see the animals in the jungle, how strong they are. So the lion said he was surprised. More, he was shocked. "Can you fight us? Don't be foolish. I can bite harder than any one of you." We all know a lion, just with his bite, he can separate the meat from the body. The elephant said, "I can lift a whole tree and fight you all at once." We also know how strong an elephant is. So the parrot calmly said, "Will you? Will you defeat us? We'll see about that. Get ready to fight us." The lion became the commander of the animals. The parrot became the commander of the birds. The lion called all the animals together and gave them a drill for practice. They marched for long hours. He gave them a lot of good food too. The poor birds did not have good food and they did not practice. Instead, they had a meeting with their friends, the insects. So, the lion became the commander of animals and the parrot became the commander of birds. Who is the commander? A person who commands, who gives orders, who is in charge. So the lion called all the animals and gave them a drill for practice. Drill is not the drill or drilling machine that we use to make hole. Here drill means an exercise that is done continuously or repeatedly till the other person has known it well. They marched for long hours. You know what is marching, right? He gave them a lot of good food too. Well, for good exercise and For proper energy, you need good food. So the lion made sure that all the animals got good food. The poor birds did not have good food and they did not practice. But what did they do? They had a meeting with their friends, the insects. This is the story till now. We'll study what happens next in the next class. Till now, till then, study these meanings. Now, part 2 of the story. At the meeting, the parrot called on their friend, the fly. You become the spy for our army. Tell us the animal's plan. We know what is a fly, right? Makhi. So, the fly can easily mingle amongst the animals and he can spy. Spy means to observe secretly and try to get the information from the animals. Yes, said the fly. I will become the spy for our army. Before the battle, the lion called all the animals together. The tiny fly flew in and hid nearby. So the fly agreed to be the spy for their army, the army of the birds, and the insects were their friends. So before the battle, when the lion called all the animals together, the tiny fly flew in. The fly also flew and hid nearby. Hid is the past tense of hide. So the fly was hidden somewhere near the meeting place of the animals. Are you all ready? The lion asked. Yes, we are ready. They all shouted. We are ready to go to the battlefield. After the march and the drill, they were ready to fight. Then listen carefully, said the lion. The lion, their commander, was about to give them the information that was needed during their battle. The lion whispered, I have a plan. Captain Fox, you have a nice long tail. You will be my signal. On the battlefield, I shall whisper in your ear when it is time to fight. You will put up your long tail to signal all the animals to attack the birds. Is that clear? So the lion whispered. Why was the lion whispering? Because this was the main information. And what did he whisper? What did he say? He told that he has a plan. Captain Fox. So the lion was the commander and who was the captain? Fox. We know how a fox looks. So lion said that Captain Fox, you have a nice long tail. You will be my signal. Signal to attack. What did he had to do? On the battlefield, when lion will whisper in the ear of Captain Fox, it will be the time to fight. And whenever lion whispers, the fox will have to put up the tail to signal all the animals to attack the birds. And then he asked, is that clear? Very clear, sir, said the fox. Very well, said all the animals in one voice. The fly hurried to tell the parrot the lion's secret plan. The fly also heard this plan, what he was supposed to do, and then he hurriedly, very quickly, went to the parrot to tell the secret plan of lion. The time for the battle came. Both sides met on the battlefield. Soon the lion whispered to the fox, it is time. Put up your tail. The fox put up his tail to signal the animals to attack. Now the time for the battle came. Earlier, how they used to fight, we have seen in the Ramayans or the Mahabharats that the two armies, the two opposing sides will come to the battlefield where the battle is supposed to happen. So when the both sides met there and then the lion whispered to the fox, "It is time. Put up your tail." It is time for what? To attack. So he told him to put up his tail. The fox, as commanded, put up his tail to signal the animals to attack. But the parrot was ready. He quickly and quietly said to the bee, "Hurry at once and sting the fox's tail." So what was the plan of parrot? Quickly but quietly said to the bee. We know how a bee looks, right? Hurry at once and sting the fox's tail. What is stinging? हम जिसे डंक मारना कहते हैं. So quickly go and sting the fox's tail. The bee stung the fox. He stung him once. He stung him twice. He stung him 3 times. The fox forgot all about the signal. He jumped. He shouted. He ran in circles after his injured tail and finally tucked his tail between his legs and ran away. The other animals were confused and ran after him. They ran away from the battlefield. They lost the battle. The birds fluttered their wings in joy. They had won without fighting at all. So what happens when you are stung? You forget everything else and your mind goes to that area and you are in pain, so you jump and shout. Fox did the same thing. If we are stung on a hand, we directly try to rub it, but the fox was stung at his tail, so he was trying to get hold of his tail and pamper it or rub it, but that's not possible. So what did he do? He was running in circles and finally tucked his tail between his legs and ran away. Dum daba ke bhag gaya. The other animals were confused and ran after him. The other animals, they had to follow the signal of the captain. So what did they do? They were confused. What is our captain doing? But still, they did what the fox did. So they ran after him. And if the fox ran away, all the animals ran away, what happened? They all ran away from the battlefield. They lost the battle. We know if we are playing a game and if we quit, we lose. So the animals lost the battle even without starting it. And the birds won the battle even without fighting. How? Because of the smartness of parrot. The birds fluttered their wings in joy. They had won without fighting at all. So that's it with the story. We'll start with the meanings and exercises in next class. First word, growl. To make a low noise in the throat to show anger or to give a warning. We know how the dogs growl. Second word, howl. To make a long, loud sound. The wolves howl at night. Third word, drill. To teach somebody by making him or her repeat something many times. This is the word used in the story. You all know the second meaning of drill. It's drilling something with a machine. Fourth word, march. To walk with regular steps like a soldier. Do you know which is the other meaning? Yes, it's the month March. Fifth word, buzz. Make a low, continuous humming sound. The bees buzzed. Sixth word, flutter. Flap its wings quickly and lightly. The birds flutter. Only 6 meanings are there. Write them in your book and understand them clearly. Now let's start with the exercises. First exercise is fill in the blanks. First word, blank suggested the idea to fight. An old parrot suggested the idea to fight. Second word, The blank became the commander of the animals. Lion. Third word, the blank became the commander of birds. The answer is parrot. Fourth, the birds had a meeting with the insects. Fifth, the blank became the spy for the birds' army. The fly. Easy, right? Next exercise is answer the following questions. First question. What were the animals and birds quarreling about? Answer. The animals and birds were quarreling about who was the smartest and the strongest. Second question. What did the lion do to prepare the animals for the battle? Answer. The lion called all the animals together and gave them a drill for practice and gave them a lot of good food. Question 3. What was Lion's plan? Answer. Lion had planned to make Captain Fox his signal. On the battlefield, he would whisper in the fox's ear when it was time to fight. The fox would then put up his long tail to signal all the animals to attack the birds. Question 4. How did the birds win the battle? Or I can also ask, how did the animals lose the battle? Answer. The birds won the battle without fighting at all. When the fox put up his tail to signal the animals to attack, the parrot told the bee to sting the fox's tail. The bee stung him thrice. The fox forgot all about the signal, jumped, shouted, and ran in circles after his injured tail. Finally, he tucked his tail between his legs and ran away. The other animals got confused and ran after him. As the animals ran away from the battlefield, the birds won the battle. The Indian purple frog. Here I've given you the picture of the Indian purple frog. It's quite rare. You can see the skin is purple and look at the limbs, the toes. Just see the picture and then we'll read the detailed description of this species of frog. There are many amazing animals in the world, but many animals are in danger of extinction. When animals are extinct, they no longer exist on Earth. Animals that are in danger of becoming extinct are called endangered animals. Some of these endangered animals live in India. One is called the Indian purple frog and it is very rare. So the passage starts with that there are many amazing animals, but many animals are in danger of extinction. Extinction means that they no longer exist on Earth. That species was there, but due to human actions or due to certain natural actions, that species is no longer found on Earth. Can you think of one such species? Yes. The first one that comes to mind is dinosaurs. Animals that are in danger of becoming extinct are called endangered animals. Like, we still find those animals, but their population is quite low. The number is reducing day by day. So those animals are called endangered. When the number reduces, it may come a time that the present species or the present generation of that animals, after that you may not find another. So after the death of that current species, that animal becomes extinct. So those animals which are in danger of becoming extinct are called endangered animals. Some of these endangered animals live in India, and one of such endangered species is the Indian purple frog, and it is very rare. The purple frog lives in India's Western Ghats. Western Ghats? The Ghats near the western coast. It ranges from Gujarat to, we can say, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala. The Ghats along the western area of India, that mountain range, or also known as the Sahyadri. The purple frog lives in the Western Ghats. This unusual place has mountains, forests, savannas, peat bogs, and freshwater wetlands. What lies in the Western Ghats? It consists of mountains, forests, savannas. Last year I taught you what is savanna. Do you remember? Well, if you don't remember, let me just revise that savanna means a grassy plain area with few trees. It's mostly covered with grass. Savannas, peat bogs. Peat bogs means peat is a deposit which looks like soil, but it is made up of decomposed vegetables, and it is in wet condition, which is very useful for gardening, or it may be used as a fuel. So peat bogs. Bogs in Hindi we mean bog is like daldal. Like it is an area of wet muddy ground that is too soft to support a heavy body. So these peat bogs are found there, and freshwater wetlands. Because the Western Ghats have so much variety, it is home to a large variety of plants and animals. We just studied that the region has variety, so because of that, also the kinds of animals or plants which need particular region to grow, even that is found in variety. One of these animals, the purple frog, was only recently discovered. It was recently discovered. Now, discovered means it was found that it's already existing. What is the difference between discovery and invention? Well, discovery is you find something which is already there in the world, and invention means you create something. Okay? So the purple frog was there, but it was only recently discovered. Although local people knew about the frog, scientists only discovered it and realized it was a new species in 2003. The frog burrows underground and eats termites. It's called the purple frog, the Indian purple frog, or the pig-nosed frog. Different names for the same animal can be confusing, so scientists give animals and plants scientific names. Now, the purple frog was already found in the Western Ghats, so the local people knew about it. But scientists only discovered it and realized that it was a new species in 2003. New species means it was not found earlier, or the scientists had not recorded it. So that happened in 2003. The frog burrows underground and eats termites. What is burrowing, or the noun burrow mean? Burrow means it's the hole underground that animals make for transportation or for living. So the frog burrows underground and eats termites. Termites are kinds of insects. It's called the purple frog, the Indian purple frog, or the pig-nosed frog. Purple frog because of its color, Indian purple frog because it is found in India and it's purple in color, or the pig-nosed frog because of the way it looks. Different names for the same animal can be confusing, So scientists give animals and plants scientific names. We know various fruits, vegetables, or plants and animals. They all have scientific names which are quite different than the regular names we give. So let's see what's the scientific name for the purple frog. The scientific name for the purple frog is Nasicabatrachus sahyadrensis. It's a long name, but the name is useful for scientists because all scientists know this one name is for this one kind of frog. So just try to read the name and pronounce it. It's very difficult. Even I tried to speak it lots of time before getting it correct in one try. Don't worry, I won't ask it during your exams. But this is the name for the Indian purple frog. What? Nasicabatrachus sahyadrensis. This name is useful for scientists because all scientists know this one name is for this one kind of frog. The short form given in Wikipedia was also N. sahyadrensis. The purple frog is larger than many other frogs. Compared to other frogs, it is larger, it is bigger in size. It has a very fat body and short, stout limbs. It has a fat body and short, stout limbs. Limbs are the legs or arms of animal or person. And stout means fat but in a strong kind of way, bulky. So it has a very fat body and short, stout limbs. So it has strong legs. Males are 60% smaller than females. Females are bigger. Males are 60% smaller than females. The small head seems too short for the body and the firm snout sticks out in the small white knob. Compared to the body, the head is small and it seems too short for the body. And the firm snout. Snout means the long nose of certain animals. It's called a snout. And the firm snout sticks out in a small white knob. Knob, we normally use that word for the handles, that round circular handles that doors or drawers have. That is called knob. But here we can use it for a small white lump. The purple frog has a shovel-shaped bump on each back leg and rounded toes on the webbed feet for digging. So what kind of body? This whole is the description of its body. It has a shovel-shaped bump. Shovel-shaped means of the shape of a shovel. Shovel is a tool that is used for picking up and moving earth, snow, sand, etc. So it has a shovel-shaped bump on each back leg and rounded toes on the webbed feet for digging. Webbed feet means the kind of feet or toes that certain birds have or animals have where there is skin between their toes. So webbed feet means feet which are having pieces of skin between the toes. That is for digging. The snout and legs help the frog dig in the ground for insects. What was the snout? It was the long nose. The snout and legs help the frog dig in the ground for insects. The small clear black eyes are above the narrow mouth. Where are the eyes? They are above the narrow mouth. The frog's mouth is only large enough to eat small insects like termites, the frog's favorite food. The frog's it has a narrow mouth and it is only large enough to eat small insects like termites. Termites, we studied that in last class, that they are small insects and they are the frog's favorite food. This whole passage was the description of the frog's body. The small, rounded tongue sticks out between the hard upper jaw and the soft lower jaw. The tongue has a round tip and the frog has no teeth. The tail is light brown with dark brown patches. The smooth skin is dark purple on the back that fades to grey on the belly. Now, the tongue. It is small and rounded and it sticks out. It comes out, it stays between the hard upper jaw. You know what is jaw? So, it has the hard upper jaw and the soft lower jaw. The tongue has a round tip and the frog has no teeth. The tail is light brown. The color of the tail is light brown with dark brown patches. You know what are patches? Like dhabba. The smooth skin is dark purple on the back. You have seen the image of the frog, so you can relate all these things to it. The smooth skin is dark purple on the back that fades to grey on the belly. That fades, which lightens and comes and looks like grey on the belly. That's it. That's it with the description of the Indian purple frog. We'll have small exercise and meanings in the next class. Let's complete the meanings in this class only. First word, extinct. It means no longer existing. Second, endangered. It means in danger of disappearing from the world. Third word, savanna. A grassy plain with few trees. Fourth word, peat bog. Wet, spongy ground of decomposing vegetation. Fifth, wetlands. Land or areas that are covered often occasionally with shallow water or having soil soaked with moisture. There are more. Let's read them. Sixth word, burrows. Make a hole or tunnel typically for use as a dwelling. Here it is meant as a verb. That's why burrows. That action is done. If it is a noun like bureau, it means a hole or tunnel used as a dwelling. Seventh word, stout. Fat or strong. Eighth word, limbs. Legs or arms. Ninth, snout. The long nose of certain animals. 10th word, knob. Lump. 11th word, shovel. A tool used for picking up and moving earth, snow, sand, etc. 12th word, webbed. Having pieces of skin between the toes. Question 1. Name 5 animals that are extinct. Extinct means which no longer exist. There are various animals, and if you want you can do this by yourself. Go on YouTube and type the same words, animals that are extinct, or if you want to Google it up, you can do the same thing. There are various animals that have been extinct, but I have given the basic 5 ones. First, West African black rhinoceros. Second, Baiji white dolphin, also called the Chinese river dolphin. Third, passenger pigeon or wild pigeon. Fourth, woolly mammoth. And fifth, saber-toothed cat. That is saber-toothed lion or saber-toothed tiger. If you want to read in detail about these animals, you can go through sites of any animal websites. For example, you may go through National Geographic or WWF, not the one for fighting but for wildlife. and you should do this for yourself. That will be your homework for today. Question 2. Name 5 animals that are endangered. Endangered means they exist, but they are in danger of disappearing from the world. The animals that are critically endangered, that their population is very less, are Amur leopard, black rhino, Bornean orangutan, cross river gorilla, eastern lowland gorilla, and there are various more. Indian animals that are endangered are the Bengal tiger, Asiatic lions which we have in Gir, snow leopard, black buck, and red panda. The reason that these animals are endangered is because we are taking away their homes, and because of hunting or poaching, these animals, we human being has degraded to that level that they kill the wild animals, even those who are not harmful, for fun. Recently only you might have heard or read in the news about the incident in Kerala where a elephant who was pregnant was killed by feeding a pineapple which was filled with crackers. So these things make the animals endangered. The world belongs to them as well, but human being is killing them. So in your homework, not just in your homework, but in your life, you need to understand that human being is not superior to animals just because of their brains, but we live together. Question 3. Which parts of the frog are carefully described? The second part of the passage was fully about the description of the frog's body, but we can name few as limbs, head, snout, feet, eyes, mouth, tongue, skin. Question 4. What are the different names of the frog in the passage? The different names of the frog are the purple frog, the Indian purple frog, and the pig-nosed frog. Do you remember the scientific name of the frog? We'll get that question in fill in the blanks. Question 4. Fill in the blanks. First, the purple frog lives in India's Western Ghats. Second one, scientists discovered and realized that the purple frog was a new species in 2003. Third, the scientific name for the purple frog is Nasicabatrachus sahyadrensis. Fourth, the male purple frogs are 60% smaller than female frogs. Fifth, termites are the frog's favorite food. That's all about the purple frog. Hello students, we are studying Unit 2 Amazing Animals in English, and in that we completed the story Battle in the Jungle, and just now we finished the passage about the purple frog. Now it's time for a delightful poem, At the Zoo by A. Milne. A. Milne wrote many poems for children, and he often wrote from the point of view of a child. At the Zoo is one of his poems written from the point of view of a child. Children do not always know the right names for things, and Milne illustrates this in his delightful poem. Before explaining you the poem, I would like to play this poem, which is sung by a sweet child. There are lions and roaring tigers and enormous camels and things. There are buffalo bisons and a great big bear with wings. At the zoo, when a child goes, they will find lions and roaring tigers. You know how a tiger roars. And enormous camels and things. Enormous means huge. And the child is saying camels and things like camels and things like him. We know we do not use things for living beings. There are buffalo, bisons. Buffalo, bisons. The child does not know the clear name. So buffalo is not the real name, but there is buffalo. We know what is it. And bisons. Bisons are also a large wild animal that looks like a cow with long curved horns and a great big bear with wings. We know there are no bears with wings. There's a sort of tiny hippopotamus and a tiny rhinoceros too. But I gave buns to the elephant when I went down to the zoo. The child does not know the full name, but he remembers the last part of the name. So when he says there's a sort of a tiny hippopotamus, he means tiny hippopotamus. And a tiny rhinoceros. Instead of rhinoceros, the animal is rhinoceros. But he gave buns to the elephant when he went to the zoo. There are badgers and bitchers and bodgers and a superintendent's house. There are masses of goats and a polar and different kinds of mouse. And I think there's a sort of a something which is called a wallaboo. But I gave buns to the elephant when I went down to the zoo. Badgers, bidgers, bodgers, these three words sound same, so the child gets confused. The real animal here is badger, and badger is an animal with black and white lines on its head that lives in holes in the ground and comes out at night. Bidgers is not a word, and bodgers means a person who makes or repairs something clumsily. We do not find bodgers at the zoo, we find badgers. So the child sees badgers at the zoo and a superintendent's house. The exact word is superintendent and it means an officer, supervisor or a manager. So there is superintendent's house. There are masses of goats and a polar. Masses means group, or there are many goats and a polar. Polar means here it is used for polar bear and different kinds of mouse. So there are various kinds of mouse. And I think there's a sort of a something which is called a wallaboo. Wallaboo is not what it is. It's called wallaby. Wallaby is an Australian animal that looks like a small kangaroo. It lives just like kangaroo, but it's small in size. So it looks like a baby kangaroo. So there's something like a wallaby there, but he gave buns to the elephant when he went down to the zoo. If you try to talk to the bison, he never quite understands. You can't shake hands with a mango, he doesn't like shaking hands. And lions and roaring tigers hate saying how do you do. But I give buns to the elephant when I go down to the zoo. Now, when we go to the zoo, as a child, we all try to talk with animals. We try to make them come near us. So the child also, when he tries to talk to the bison, he never quite understands. We know the animals won't reply to what we are saying. You can't shake hands with a mingo. Mingo, that's the last part of flamingo. So just like flamingo has long legs, and so the child also tries to shake hands with flamingo, but they won't respond. So he says that flamingo does not like shaking hands. And lions and roaring tigers hate saying how do you do. Well, actually none of the animals will be saying how do you do. And in the end, but I give buns to the elephant when I go down to the zoo. Let's start with meanings. First, enormous. It means huge. Second, bison. A large and wild animal that looks like a cow with long, curved horns. Third, badger. An animal with black and white lines on its head that lives in holes in the ground and comes out at night. Now, in the exercise, you just have one question. Which words in At the Zoo do not name real animals? Which ones are real? Answer. The words which do not name real animals are buffalo, potamus, rhinoceros, badgers, badgers, wallaby, and mingo. The real animals are lions, tigers, camels, buffalo, bison, bear, elephant, goats, and mouse.